let's gather ourselves for our meditation tonight. And when you're ready to begin, what I recommend is you take a seated position in your meditation and move to a comfortable seated position and kind of settle in. And if possible, when you're working on your seated meditation, it doesn't really matter what's happening around you. It doesn't matter if you're in a busy environment or if there's a lot of things happening behind you. None of it really matters. What the most important thing is that you experience the inner state, right? And if your mind is jumpy, what will also happen is your body will start to move around. So I recommend as much as possible, you try to keep your body still. Okay, so if the body is still, it will just make for a more peaceful and calm and equanimous mind. And keep your mind equanimous, keep your mind really calm and steady. Don't judge yourself or your thoughts, just experience yourself as you are. Okay, now that we're ready to begin, gently close your eyes and drop your attention into inhalation and exhalation. As you breathe in, become aware that you're breathing in. And as you breathe out, become aware that you're breathing out. The breath is like the tide of your life force, moving in and flowing out. Let whatever rhythm you experience in the breath simply to be there, just like you wouldn't try to control the tide and make it go faster or smoother. Just experience the breath and observe it, like you're watching the waves on the ocean shore. Inhalation and exhalation. If the breath is deep, let it be deep. If the breath is shallow, let it be shallow. Take a break from judging the quality of your experience and just observe. If your breath is warm, observe the breath is warm. If the breath is cool, observe the breath is cool. Don't look for anything fancy or extraordinary, just experience the breath as you are. If you try to bring the mind to the breath and your mind gets distracted, you find yourself thinking other thoughts, you feel some emotions, or your body is feeling some strong discomfort, observe that too. Oh, the mind has gone away. Oh, there's pain in the body. Oh, there's a strong emotion, whether pleasure or pain. And just bring the mind right back to the breath. As you begin to choose the sensation of awareness of the breath, you control the organs of the senses so that you redirect the power of the mind into the inner states. The stillness of mind is called nirodha, the calm inward direction, so that the waves, the fluctuations of the mind, come to a still point at the inner body. Bring your mind back into awareness of the breath. The breath is a window into the inner sanctuary. Inside your heart, there's a quiet place of peace, of imperturbable and infinite peace. And it is only the calm and equanimous mind that can touch that infinite space of peace within. If your mind is too distracted or too busy to take even a few moments to quietly drop down, then you'll never hear or feel the inner silence, the infinite space of the true self within. Gaze deeply along the inner body. Use the breath as the window to dive down into the central channel of the body, finding the infinite space of the heart, the infinite power of the true self. Deep in the center of your heart, tune in. Let the spark of light that is the divine spark of your true self start to become primary in your point of attention. so that you feel in the center of your heart the spark, a glowing, emanating, resplendent light, almost like a beam of light that shines out of the infinite emptiness within. Allow your whole body to be covered and enveloped and held in that warm white light. Let it wash over you. Let it wash your obstacles, imperfections. Let it wash all the difficulty away. Wash away everything that stands between you and an infinite state of peace. If you find the mind getting distracted, bring it back into the simple sensation of the breath. Inhalation, exhalation, the depth, the rhythm, the pace, whether the breath is warm or cool, how the breath feels. Just experience it as it is. And then dropping down into the infinite space of the heart, let the purity of that divine spark illuminate the inner body so that you experience the sparkly, resplendent power of the true self. Hold yourself and the experience clearly and purely so that you see yourself in grace through the eyes of spirit, restored, whole, complete. With a few moments, dropping down into the inner sanctuary, move your hands together, inhale, exhale. Thanks for joining me, guys. Thanks for all the hearts. I love all the colors. You guys still watching? Thank you. So remember, Periscope watchers, this is going to be on YouTube later. And remember, YouTube watchers, please follow me on Periscope so you never miss a broadcast. All right? And Kino Yoga on both places. You guys have any questions about the meditation? Oh, I know my Paris workshop is sold out. So there's a lot of people who want to come to my workshop in Paris. So the only solution is to find a bigger venue. So if anybody knows a bigger venue that wants to have a lot of yogis, you let me know. Last week's meditation will be on, but I don't know if I don't know if we recorded the whole discussion on God. So we didn't. Sorry, we turned it off at the end of the meditation. So you'll have to keep asking about God. I'll have to keep talking. All right. So my YouTube channel is Kino Yoga. Okay, I've done 3 Vipassana meditation retreats, and they've been at 3 different places in the world. My first Vipassana meditation retreat was in Nepal. So the first Vipassana I did was in Nepal, and the second Vipassana I did was in Switzerland. And the third Vipassana I did was in Belgium, so I've done them in 3 different places. And if you're thinking about going, I totally recommend doing them. I mean, they're amazing. They're like a new lease on life. They're just absolutely awesome. What was the other question? Was there another question? Oh, malas, thank you. Okay, malas. If you're gonna use malas, it's actually called a japa practice if you use the malas. So it's it's more like a prayer practice than a meditation. So it's more like a prayer. And because you would recite a mantra as you move through each of the beads of the malas. So it's sort of like doing a rosary. I actually don't do that very often. More when I meditate, I'm going for silence. Ooh, I'm gonna itch on my nose. So how come some of your videos only show up in subscriptions and not on your channel? What do you mean? On YouTube? Or here? I don't know. Apparently that's the face I make a lot here. What that face means is I am thinking. On YouTube, I don't know why it comes up only on subscriptions, but on the channel, if you send me an email at info@kinoyoga.com, and you let me know which videos you're talking about. I'll try to figure those out or figure that out for you, okay? So in relation to the malas, it's a japa practice, and it's a japa mala, and you would have to recite a mantra as you move through each of the beads, again, a little bit like a rosary. Did anyone help you to write your books? I have an editor. My publisher is working, you know, in helping me edit, and I definitely need a little bit of editing, because if you guys follow me on Instagram, like, I have a lot to say, and a little bit of editing is really, really useful. But I write all of my own books. I write all of my own posts. I love to write. I thought I would actually have a career somehow in writing. I used to want to write a novel, and then I didn't. So, I do chakra healing, and you thought malas had to do with that. Malas are really tools, again, for the japa practice. So the mantra, like, for example, a common mantra that you would recite for the japa practice would be something really simple like Om Namah Shivaya or something like that. Or, you know, if you're doing the Christian Rosary, then, you know, I guess you could say some Hail Marys or something like that. Neither of those I do. I don't really do them. I don't really believe that, like, you need anything, any object to help you connect with God. I believe that all of those things, like the japa practices or the rosaries, are a tool to really help you connect with God. And I believe that God lives inside of you, and or not really lives inside of you, but that you can access, you can talk to Him through your heart. And you don't need, like, an object. You don't need to, like, carry these, like, 5 things around with you, and then those things are your connection into God. Like, you don't need a bunch of crystals. I love crystals, but they're beautiful, but I don't need them to connect to my inner sanctuary. I love incense, but I don't need incense in order to, you know, do my practice. So I don't. The key is that if you can connect with God directly and you can experience Him in your heart, then that's the only talisman that you need. You know, only really seek His presence. The bracelets are beautiful. That's why I wear them. And some of them are gifts from people that I love, and I just really like them. I think they're beautiful. So now, for the question that you asked for, what do you do if you do yoga but you're an atheist? I would imagine that it's probably the English word God, that's off-putting. It was off-putting for me for a long time. And I'll tell you that the English language is limited. Like, it's a rational construction of our thoughts. And God is an infinite space. You know, He's infinite. And I can understand that any words you may think like, oh, I don't really believe in, like, that concept that's presented through these words. But I would challenge you, if you think that you're totally atheist, and ask you, what do you believe in? You know, what do you believe in? I feel like people believe in something. You know, if you've experienced love in your life, if you've experienced beauty, if you've experienced like a spark of inspiration, like, what do you believe in? So if you're an atheist, I would ask you, if you say that, I would ask yourself, what do you believe in? And then start there and just figure out where is your devotion, you know, where is your practice, what do you believe in, where is your faith, what do you have faith in? Do you have faith in anything? And I believe that we all have experiences that transcend our logic. And I think that it's really important to just focus on, okay, let's see, you feel that you're an atheist, but you feel God is within you, that you believe in the universe and praise the earth. Okay, so you believe in something, that's awesome. I think that's really great. So start there, you know? Start that. I'm playing with the sand. Apparently I like to make Zen gardens down here. So I had a long time where I didn't believe in, you know, that I didn't believe in God. I didn't really like that whole idea. And I believed in the earth, and I believed in beauty and all that sort of thing. And then what started to happen for me was I started to have these experiences that were beyond logic, and I started with the things that I believed in, and then it just started to move through me. So I just started to feel this infinite spiritual presence, started to feel this sacred space, this infinite holiness inside of my heart. Like, I felt this sort of holy space. And I wasn't raised with any religion, so for me it was just this true, pure experience. And nobody had any words to describe it, and nobody, you know, told me this is what I should feel, but it's just, my heart just started to open, and there started to be the more experience of peace and more experience of an infinite inner wisdom. And the more I started to listen to that quiet voice of wisdom in my heart, the more I started to experience, you know, the magic really of God. And I believe in Jesus, and I've had, and I don't expect you to understand, I'm not asking anyone to believe, you know, you have to make your own decisions about life and everything. I wasn't raised Christian. I've only been to church a few times, but I had an experience with Jesus, and it was the most pure and beautiful experience that I've ever had. And it was beyond, I mean, I said this on the Periscope last time, but I'll say it again. There were all these ideas that I had about who Jesus was and like what he represented in terms of like Christian dogmas and Christianity and all of that sort of stuff. But when I experienced him in his presence, it was beyond anything that I could ever describe. It was like the purity and the beauty of his presence. I just said yes. Like I just wanted to surrender. I just, you know, had this moment of, you know, I give it over to you. And I just fell into grace, really. And it's a blessing, and I'm thankful for it really every day. And it's just beyond anything that I would ever imagine. And again, I'm not asking anyone to, like, I'm not trying to force you into doing that. But if you want to experience that, that's so awesome that you want to experience that. Here's what I would recommend. You know, soften your heart to that experience and start to sort of ask question. Just ask the question, you know, ask for God to reveal the truth to you. Ask, if you want that experience, ask God to reveal Jesus to you. Ask God to reveal the truth to you, and he will. Ask with a sincere heart. Ask with, you know, divine yearning, and he will come. And then you have to say yes. You did miss the meditation, but you can watch it on replay. So, how long ago did that happen? I had some experiences over the last year and a half. About a year and a half ago, I started to experience directly the presence of God, and this is really recent that I experienced, you know, Jesus, and it's been really within the last, since December of last year. I can't do the math right now, so if you guys can do the math, what are we in? We're in August. So since December of last year, and every day I've been getting more connected and more grounded in 8 months. Thank you so much. I couldn't do the math. So it was about 8 months ago, and it wasn't something that I expected. You know, it wasn't something like, oh, okay, I'm going to try to force this into happen or anything like that. It's just that it just started to happen. And then again, I just said yes to that experience. Okay, so you think yoga means union with God, doesn't it? Now, in the definition of yoga, and this is something, you know, the word yoga, to yuk, right? And it has this, you know, definition. So now, the experience of yoga is the ability at the final end, right? I'm absolutely sure that it was Jesus. There is absolutely no question about that. The words that were laid upon my heart really before I experienced Jesus, and I feel like, you know, I was thinking to myself, and I had this, you know, I watched a sermon online that a friend of mine sent me, and actually that Carrie sent me, so maybe she'll send it to you too if you ask her. I watched the sermon, and then these words were just laid upon my heart. They just stayed with me. You know, the words, the body of Christ, it just stayed upon me. It just stayed on me, and it just stayed. And then as I was experiencing these words, they were just in my mind again and again and again and again. I was sitting, and I had this experience. This is going to sound completely crazy. It's going to sound like I'm on an acid trip, and I totally forgive you if you write it off and everything, and that's totally fine. And I don't know if I really shared this with so many people, but now we're broadcasting it on Periscope because we're talking about it. And it felt like the heavens opened up. Like I saw clouds and the heavens opened up. It was completely crazy. And then this figure came forward with open arms, and it was Jesus. I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, it was beyond, and he's filled with light, and he was filled with purity, and he was glowing, and it was just unbelievable. And he held these sort of open arms, and I, you know, jumped into his arms. It was unbelievable. And, you know, the Bible says that Jesus baptizes with the Holy Spirit, and that was something that I immediately felt his presence. So that was sort of my experience. And I don't expect you to, you know, agree with me or believe that. I have in the past taken LSD, so you could write it off to an acid trip, and, you know, you could totally write it off to a flashback, but that's just my experience and I'm just sharing it, right? So any of you who don't, I see what you're saying about your friend who entered into a psych hospital after believing in God, and I'm really sorry about that. Maybe it actually wasn't God, like maybe he thought it was God, but it wasn't, and you'll have to stay tuned to see whether or not I end up in a psych hospital, but it actually wasn't during meditation. It was just like during a random moment in my life. You know, it was actually like it was on an airplane, and I travel a lot, and it was just like a regular moment in my life. So I think that this is like the story in the Bible of Paul who meets God on the road to Damascus. Like he's just going about his life, minding his own business, and then like there's this experience that's waiting. It was totally crazy. It was a vision, and it was a divine vision, and it was beyond anything that I'd ever imagined. And I felt like this is the connection to God that I'd been searching for my whole life in yoga, right? So it was like every time I practiced, it's like I was looking for that connection. And when I experienced those amazing highs in the yoga practice or amazing peace in meditation, then it was really those moments that I was looking for. I was looking for God. And Jesus is the permanent bridge to God. And it was just amazing. So I hope you guys, you know, understand, and if you don't, that's okay too. Again, I'm not asking anybody to believe or trying to force that on you, and just sharing my experience because you guys asked. So, oh, I forgot about your yoga's union question. I'm so sorry, I got carried away. Let's talk about yoga's union for a moment. Okay, so yoga's union, and your friend who was obsessed with God and went to the psychiatric hospital. I'm very sorry for your friend who went to the psychiatric hospital. I think that God gives you, the direct experience of God gives you an infinite peace, and I hope that your friend has peace now, and I will pray for him. And yoga as union, a lot of people think of yoga as union, but actually if you look at the end, like the stated goals of yoga, we have samadhi, the state of complete absorption, the state of complete awareness of the true self. This is the ultimate state of yoga. If you look at the Yoga Sutras, we have the definition of the Ashtanga Yoga path, Yoganga Nushtanad Ashadikyaye Jnana Diptira Viveka Kyatehe. And so this is the 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga will burn through the inner obstacles through the fire of purification, creating a state of surrender, revealing the lamp of knowledge so that you're able to discriminate between what is the truth and what is the untruth. So this is the definition of yoga, that you are able to see what's true and what's not true. Anybody can practice yoga, any shape, any size, so you're good. So I hope that answered your yoga's union question. The practice of yoga is the revelation of truth. So we experience, I didn't get the quite, that was too fast. You with your friend with the psych hospital. I didn't get that. You have to retype it. Oh, this is your favorite one. That's awesome. Oh, your phone died. You can watch it on replay. And on YouTube. It's going to be on YouTube. Wow, the whole discussion. Oh my goodness. I think the YouTube people may eat me alive. Don't eat me alive, YouTube people. Okay, somebody wrote about the psychiatric friend. I would like to read it again. It went by so quickly. You will be able to fast forward the part. Yes, you will be able to fast forward. I stood my first class when I was 19, and I started a dedicated, concentrated practice of Ashtanga Yoga when I was 22. Oh, you want your boyfriend to hear my take on God? Well, you can play it. You're welcome to play it on replay. Share. You're welcome to share this with anyone. Oh, thank you. The psychiatric friend, you're not going to write the comment again? The religious delusion. Yes, religious delusions can be different than religious beliefs. Yes, absolutely. Delusion is delusion. This is vipariyaya. This is a false conception of reality. Delusion of any type can lead you into terrible things, but a direct experience of the truth is, you know, is potentially liberating. And you have a friend who is an atheist and now is obsessed, then I don't know if what they're experiencing is actually God. I believe in the teachings of the Buddha. My grandfather was Buddhist, and I do Vipassana meditation, and I practice yoga. So I believe that all knowledge comes from God, and that the teaching of the Buddha is really because he was connected into God, and the techniques of meditation from the path of the Buddha are amazing to still the minds. You know, that's a question. That seems to be an intellectual question. Jesus was human or God? You know, that's what I was going to say. I was actually going to say that too. That Jesus was, you know, the Son of God and sent here. So he's both. And, you know, I remember talking to Carrie about this, and Carrie said that what's really amazing about Jesus is that he was both God and human, so he understands us, and he understands what we're going through, and he understands us from, you know, he understands us, and he understands the human struggle, and he's filled with infinite compassion for all of us. Infinite compassion because he understands our struggle. He sees the suffering of the whole world. He sees your suffering. He sees your suffering, and he takes it on. And this is something that is really, really amazing because he'll never let you down.